I'm Shalina Tobin, aka Posh Nosh Gal. I'm joined today by one of London's most exciting chefs. He's joined me before, so you may have already heard of the lovely Ben Murphy. Ben burst onto the scene with multiple accolades. His journeys included working with some of the best chefs in the world in multiple three-star Michelin restaurants. And now he's been crafting his own version of fun fine dining as head chef at Launceston Place in London. Ben is a big advocate for mental health. If you follow him on Instagram, you'll know he shares much about his life and his own journey through mental health and how he keeps himself strong. We could all use a little help and words of wisdom through this pandemic. We're all in it together, so let's get through it together. If you enjoyed this interview, please subscribe, rate, and review. Apparently, it helps others find me. Ben, thank you so much for coming back and chatting with me. For anyone that doesn't know you, tell us what you've been doing through the pandemic and how you've been keeping yourself sane.
Hey, how are you? Nice to see you. So things are okay. Obviously, the first lockdown was a bit new to the scene, should we say? Obviously, it was like a long holiday. Come last July, August, I managed to start up the home cooking dining scene. So I basically take the plates, the cutlery, the experience, and the food that I would do normally in the restaurant. I decided to do that in people's homes. So obviously the fact that we weren't allowed to go out to the point of obviously traveling and being in restaurants because the restaurant was closed. So I decided to take that concept into people's homes, which actually worked really well. To be fair, I did over 54 dinners
Wow.
throughout the 2 months. So I guess more so just keeping the name of the restaurant going. And obviously, most importantly, keeping sane because it was something I was doing daily, like working 16, 17-hour days to all of a sudden just stopping. So yeah, I kind of went with that idea of cooking in people's homes, keeping sane, but still loving what I'm doing and keeping it up basically.
And how did you find, cooking in people's homes versus working in the restaurant? Do you think it's like a road that you would potentially think of going down in the future?
To be fair, like I prefer the restaurant scene, if I'm honest. And obviously the fact that people that Lawson Place is a destinational restaurant, I believe. Me, say for example, leaving that and then going into doing a full-time home dining scene, there's no guarantee that it's long term, Whereas with the restaurant, with the supporting of the obviously D&D as well, it's a lot different. Whereas doing a home dining scene, I'm very standalone, so there's a lot of risk involved. Obviously, walking into people's homes, it's unexpected. It's a challenge for me, which obviously is something I want and something that worked well. Obviously, thinking on the spot of how I can make a tasting menu, which is what I was offering. It was 7 8 courses long, and then obviously cooking in people's homes that I've never cooked in before, an environment I never worked in, an oven, a stove top. Still taking risks as well by putting a souffle on the menu, so using their oven. And I guess at the same time, obviously showing people at home that they can actually produce this sort of food in their homes. So with a bit of practice, so yeah, hopefully inspired a few people.
Yeah. Well, it's frustrating that you haven't been able to carry on with that. But what you have been doing is you've been selling your aprons, which you've designed, and a percentage goes to a mental health charity. Tell us how you came up with that wonderful idea.
Yeah, so I was actually doing Instagram lives in the first lockdown, and I was getting 100, 200 people watching me cook dishes, techniques as well that I would normally do in a restaurant, but in my home. A lot of people were asking like where I was getting my aprons from and stuff. So since then, I kind of decided, why not bring my own kind of apron to the table. I've got my little avatar on it. And we had 2 types, one with a signature on it, one without the avatar. And 10% went to Mind Charity, obviously to support mental health. First drop that we did, we sold over 700, so that was a really big achievement. It was crazy, to be fair. And I still got a few now, so as and when, I'm sure they'll be sold within time. But it was just a little side thing to try and keep busy, obviously, an excuse to go out as well. So my travels out would be going out to the post office, Um, and yeah, but apart
Living
from that,
life on the
obviously,
edge, love it.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So yeah, it was something I wanted to do for our industry as well. Staying linked to what I do daily, and obviously we wear aprons in the kitchen. It's a good quality. I found a good supplier as well who helped me create it.
Right.
And yeah, I've had a lot of support on that actually.
Amazing. And so, just to cover a little bit about your career for anyone that doesn't know you, Ben started his career with the legendary Pierre Kaufman. He was off to a great start. He then moved on to train in fantastic restaurants like Per Se and 11 Madison Park in New York. Ben, what an incredible way to learn your trade at such a young age. But it wasn't all plain sailing. We spoke briefly about your time in France in our previous interview at
Mm.
a 3 Michelin star restaurant, which you say was probably one of the lowest points in your career. It's really kind of you to open up in depth about this. I know it was quite a traumatic time that you went through. So from the beginning, please talk us through where you were, how you got there, and why it was such a difficult time for you.
So before I went to France, I was working with Pierre Kaufman. I had his trust. I worked 4 years for him. So it got to the point where I knew exactly what his standards were. I knew what he wanted, and we became more like family. We were so close, and we still are, to be fair. His guidance led me in a direction where he gave me three options. It was either going to America to work through his contacts, Australia, or France. Um, I chose France based on the fact that obviously when I was at college at Westminster Kingsway, I was learning the base of French cooking. So for me to be able to go to France and perfect what I learned at college and then working for Pierre Kaufman, for as an English guy, for me there was no other better option than to go and see what it was all about. You know,
Yeah.
take the step. Despite learning Spanish in school, I didn't speak a word of French either, so it was even
Oh.
more risky. And obviously working for Pierre Kaufman, yeah, okay, a legendary 3 Michelin star chef.
Mm-hmm.
His food and mentality was to that level, but obviously working at Pierre Kaufman's, it was a free rosette restaurant. So going from a free rosette restaurant to then go work straight into a 3 Michelin star restaurant for me was a bit daunting, you know, like. And I went. Pierre Kaufman actually drove me to the south of France. It was a restaurant for under Michel Guerra, 3 Michelin star in Eugenie-les-Bains. So this restaurant in particular was not far from Gascony, where Pierre Kaufman's originally from. So while he dropped me on the way, he went home to see his family,
Right.
and then he kind of left me there, which was fine. You know, he introduced me to the team. I didn't understand anything they were saying originally, and then yeah, it was obviously the first time I moved out of home as well, so away from like my mum, my dad, my family. It was a big step, and that age was 21 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so Michel Gar, 3 Michelin star restaurant. I walk in on the first day. I have no idea what's going on. I obviously did a bit of research on the food. I knew it was quite classical, but yeah, obviously they weren't taking anything easy, should we say? So the whole like trying to understand that. Basically, with me, I got quite lucky on the fact that if you show me something once, I'd be able to do it, and you won't need to show me twice. I think that's the only thing I can actually say. Like I'm confident that, you know, like so the fact that like they'll show me how to prep like langoustines or de-shelled scallops or a sort of dish, they'll show me once and I'll do it. But then it got to the point where I felt like I was more of a target. You know, if anything did go wrong in the service, then I'll be the one to blame for it. So it's kind of like most nights I'll end up going home, like walking home, because literally in South France there was one road, you know, like the chateau was on one corner of the road, and then they'll have like one hairdresser, one corner shop, one cafe, and that's it. There's literally nothing else there. So going from like London, born and bred, to south of France where there was nothing there, it was obviously a shock to the system as well.
Mm.
And kind of what a lot of people read about the whole burning thing, you know, like getting the spatula hot and then hitting your skin kind of thing. That did happen quite a lot, and it was more based on the fact that I wanted to go there to learn something new. I wasn't there to be in competition with anyone, you know. And it wasn't as if I think they might have took it more as some sort of threat. Like I have a point to prove or something, because obviously Pierre Kaufman, being as a legend as he is, was the guy that introduced me. It was as if, like, oh yeah, it's some sort of wonder boy has come in. Like that's the kind of thing that I think they've got the impression of. But I was honestly just there to learn. I didn't really speak much. I just literally got my head down, got on with the job. But like most of the nights, I was kind of like going home crying. I was contacting my mum. I was contacting Pierre Kaufman, especially, saying, look, like I can't do this. It's too much. And to be fair, obviously, it was an eye opener, but then it made me think twice about my career and is this really what I want to be doing? Like it kind of put me off cooking at the same time. As much as at that young age, you're just working for this chef just for a CV, you know, because obviously by the end of it, you want to be able to have a platform where you can say, okay, I've worked here, here, here. That was what it was about back then. And to be fair, it still is now, but obviously under them circumstances and the people I was involved with and in that kitchen, it was pretty toxic at the time.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I mean, that must have been really awful and, you know, really, really horrible that you had to go through that. I mean, it's quite a deep topic. And I see bullying as a real kind of, it's a form of abuse. In your particular situation, I mean, was it physical, verbal, or emotional? I mean, what exactly was going on?
So there was physical abuse. Like I might get taken into the fridge, and then one of the chefs will like try to kick me or start screaming at me about something. But then it'll be between like me and another chef if something went wrong, which does happen. Like people make mistakes. Like I made mistakes. I knew about, but I was aware of them. But there'll be sometimes where like there'll be another chef de partie, for example. Obviously, I've gone from Kaufman's restaurant as sous chef to Commis in the 3 Michelin restaurant, which is fine. I don't care about the positions. I'm not about that. I'm not about the money. I honestly just wanted to learn. But then something will go wrong in service, and obviously the fact that I don't understand what's going on or being said, because my French isn't up to scratch, but I understand a few bits and bobs. Like as an English guy going there, I picked up the swear words straight away. It's normal. Like when people come to the UK, obviously they understand that. But then when like you get taken to the fridge and then like the guy tries to hit you about this, that, the other, and you're just like probably like just crouching down, like I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it does make you question and think about what exactly is the point of being here. So yeah, I guess it was a learning curve for sure. But yeah, one I definitely will not want to go through again.
And I mean, did you know what was going wrong? Because you said you didn't really understand the language. So when you were being bullied in that way, did you know why?
At the time, I didn't, because obviously it wasn't even Michel Guy. Like he was just like the guy who overlooked the scene, should we say, because of his age, because of his name. It was more so the head chef. And to be fair, at the time, I had no idea, because learning, like obviously I understand French now, yeah, but like what I learned French based on in Paris was a much different to what I learned French based in south of France. It was very like their accent was very like deep. It was very like Basque, you know. Mm-hmm. Obviously being that side of France. So reading like the dictionary about words and stuff, which was what I was doing most nights. It didn't make sense to what they were saying because I just couldn't understand it because it was so deep. But yeah, I knew some stuff that was going on. I did make some mistakes, which was normal. So a part of me did expect it. But then when 3 people in the kitchen are having like conversations and there's that understanding, they're like, what's going on? And everything like looks at me, it's just like, I honestly don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like so yeah, it was a learning curve. So obviously I was constantly on the phone to Kaufman quite a bit. He said, look, like it's fine, everything's fine. Clearly, maybe the mentality is expected, you know, like working at a 3 Michelin restaurant. It was the first one I've been to. So yeah, it was an eye opener for sure.
So typically, if you're going through that sort of thing and you complain to a superior, effectively you're digging your own grave.
Yeah, basically.
I know, so you just mentioned you were talking to Kaufman. I mean, could he do anything for you? Was he actually able to help in any way, or did you have to just really put up with it and deal with it in silence?
So I had his guidance and advice, and it was like more so like, look, believe in yourself. Like he wouldn't send me there if he didn't think I was good enough to work there. So that kind of gave me like some sort of positivity within myself and belief. But at the same time, obviously, he wasn't there, so he couldn't see exactly what was going on. Lucky enough for me, I ended up meeting a chef called Levan. I remember it quite clearly, actually. He was from Belgium, but his English was actually quite good, and he joined after I did. So luckily for me, I'm never the guy that will suck up to anyone, like, and that I'm not about that at all. But Levan was, funny enough, this guy would. So he would have the conversations with all the chefs who understand exactly what they're going on. So eventually, it got like 6 months down the line, it got to the point where I actually knew what was going on and what was being said. And by that time, I learned the menu within 3 months anyway, so I had a understanding a bit more. And obviously, he was my kind of like translator, which was a big help. And then it got to the point where I was involved and I got invited to a few drinks up on the days off. To be fair, we worked 6 days a week. It was literally 18-hour days. So that one day off, like normally I'll just be in bed, chilling, sleeping, napping, waking up, sleeping, eating, sleeping, and that's how it was. But then I kind of got into a routine where I'll actually get invited to another chef's like apartment, and we'll chill, and we'll start learning. And then it got to the point where I was actually teaching them English and they were teaching me French.
Amazing.
So I built that. I kind of built that connection with them, and it did help massively. And then obviously newer chefs came on and joined the team, so therefore I was a lot older within that team. So my respect for obviously the head chef grew a lot more. And then the target was the newbies kind of thing. So yeah, it was honestly well, the first 3-4 months was like a kind of make or break thing. But I guess sticking to it, believing in myself from what Kaufman was telling me, about just gritting your teeth, getting on with it, and then yeah, there we go.
And I mean, you told me in the past that you've had nights where you've been literally crying after service. How did you pull yourself? Because the first 6 months, if you went through it for that long, that's quite a long time. How did you find the strength to just get yourself out of it?
I don't know. I think like as much as people say about they don't need reassurance, like if you don't feel like you're worth something or you're not good enough, then you do need some sort of reassurance from someone. So I had my family who believed in me. I had obviously Kaufman, but obviously at that time, and only being 21, I was still a bit clueless to what was next. And then I noticed a few compliments that were being said, obviously through the Belgian chef, about obviously the head chef saying, "Oh, this was good." And then I ended up building quite a good relationship with the head chef, where he ended up actually believing in me as well. I got promoted, funny enough. It was so weird. So there was chefs that had been there for a year, 2 years. After 6 months, I got promoted to chef de partie. And some of the chefs who were already there for a year were still below me. So it was so weird. I've kind of just jumped the gun completely. But obviously the head chef realizing my actual ability over the fact that I wasn't there to prove a point. I was just actually there to learn and to try and give something to the team and the restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, there probably was a little bit of jealousy because of your relationship with Pierre Kaufman as well. And
I think so.
yeah, definitely. And I think often when people see you as a threat, they want to have control and power over you. So I guess on reflection, you mentioned it, briefly earlier on. So I guess that really did have something to do with it. And you've progressed so quickly and proven yourself as well. So I guess maybe when they started realizing that you've actually got real ability and skill, maybe they just started, kind of accepting you as part of the team because they believe that you can do it and you're good and you're great.
Yeah, I do feel like obviously I've been quite lucky with like who the chefs. Obviously, the core has come from working for Pierre Kaufman without a doubt. Like for any other chef who's starting out to have a mentor as I did, where there's so much trust. Obviously, he wanted to make sure I was looked after, so he sent me to what he thought was the best. Without a doubt, I wouldn't actually change it. But obviously, it was an experience that maybe obviously he probably doesn't know half of the stuff that I'm telling you, but it was a learning curve for sure. And I think going through them sort of stages where now I've actually only been head chef for 5 years in my career, and that's a 12-year career. So I'm still learning about myself, and I'm still like challenging myself. Whereas I won't want to put any of my team in that sort of position.
Yeah.
So I think I've been quite lucky with the team that I have around me now. The fact that they're actually liking myself and what we do, based on the fact that I'm not about that. Obviously, I don't want to give what I've learned in the past and what I've experienced to them. Hence the fact that they've stayed with me for so long as well, which is important, I think. So.
Yeah. And so the point of these kind of, pertinent conversations is to explore how we can draw out some of the strengths that we can learn from this, and perhaps in making you, more resilient in life or more compassionate towards others. Maybe this is one of those experiences that's made you, such a great ambassador for mental health. So what are the things that you've been able to draw in a light of strength and positivity that from that very difficult time?
So from then, it was more so the next stage, I guess. From the south of France, it would have been going to Paris. So again, the belief I had in myself through speaking to my family, Pierre Kaufman, and obviously the head chef at the time, at Michel Guerard, he was the next contact. So funny enough, I've been quite lucky that I never actually had to create a CV. So it's always been through a chef that's got me the next job, which is quite rare, I think.
It's
But
amazing.
yeah, he kind of believed in me at the time, that he trusted me to run a section in the Freestar. So then, yeah, it was his connect that got me the job at Le Bristol. So then, obviously, working in Paris now, I've taken a few different views on it. Obviously, Paris is very similar to London, just a lot smaller. So I feel like I'm at home now already. So I'm a lot more comfortable. I'm a lot more happy. I've got the confidence from working for Michel Guerard. I think I've kind of went through the breaking point at that time. So I've learned the basics now of French kitchen language also. But obviously now working in Paris, it was a lot more modern than the classic in cookery in south of France. So I guess more so for me, it was taking them positives and bringing it all to one. But then obviously, yeah, again, being in South France, to get home and visit family was impossible. It took like, I don't know, 16 hours, whereas Paris it's a 2-hour Eurostar. So if there was any run in, then I can easily just jump on the train and come home. So
Yeah.
I had a lot more confidence, and I was a lot more happier, to be fair.
Yeah. I guess when you've hit rock bottom, there's no other way but up, right? So
That's
anything
just it,
else from
exactly.
there is going to be better.
Yeah, you would think so, yeah. And that, yeah, and then I did it a year in Paris, and I was really happy in Paris, to be fair. Really, really happy. I learned a lot, obviously, working in a Freestar there. And obviously being part of the hotel group at Le Bristol, you're only contracted to work 8-hour shifts. Like you're not allowed to do any more. They won't have you. So I did have a part-time job beside of that. It was working in a restaurant called Cozy. So it was like a brasserie.
Okay.
Um, but I'd actually make like 3 times the amount of money I would in that brasserie than I would in the Freestar.
Oh, wow.
So I had literally the best of both worlds. I was earning good money. I was learning in the Freestar. I was still keeping busy. Oh yeah, it was pretty intense, like 6 days a week and stuff. But
Amazing.
yeah, I did well.
Yeah.
I managed to save quite a bit of money at the time. So
Yeah, you did. And I think, I think it's just the work ethic within a chef. I mean, you guys are like constantly on your feet. You can't sit still, and you've got to just keep going and keep cooking and keep just doing your thing. I think it's really amazing. It's a very I think it's a very strong trait
mm,
in chefs.
yeah, definitely, I think so as well.
Well, sometimes these challenging times can make you stronger, as we know. And I know you've also had a really difficult time when you opened your own restaurant. Talk me through that experience from the beginning. How did you, embark on that journey?
So so I did France. France was, for me, France was complete. I wanted to do 2 years. That ticks a huge box for me. I felt like I achieved something because I went there. I did exactly 2 years. I remember it quite clearly, like March the 15th. 2 years later, March 15th, I was done and I left, kind of thing. And then I came back. I worked at the greenhouse for 10 months under Arnaud Bion, in process of getting my CV for America. Did the 2 stints per se in 11 Hours Park, which was good to see.
Right.
But then obviously saving money at that time, I wanted to look into opening a restaurant and coming back to London. Obviously, I felt like I've hibernated a bit by doing a bit of traveling. So then I wanted to come back and make a bit of an impact and bring what I learned from everywhere I worked into one place. So yeah, I got approached by a couple of investors, which was good at the time. And basically, they sold me the dream. It'll be opening a 1.4 million pound restaurant in the south in the East London, South Woodford.
Mm-hmm.
The place originally was called Funky Mojos. It was actually a club. Next door was an old people's home. So going in there, I know the club closed down based on the fact that there was a lot of trouble with the environment it was in and the people that was involved. And obviously making a restaurant / cocktail bar upstairs. It was an 80 cover restaurant, and yeah, it went really well. I had 14 chefs that were working with me every service, which was quite a big brigade, to be fair. I knew that there was 2 investors involved. After 3 months, we won Restaurant of the Year award with the Evening Standard.
Amazing.
It was a really good and a really big achievement for.
Had you invested your own funds into this as well?
No, at the time I didn't know.
Okay.
No, so there was no investment. It was more so just the fact that I've taken a leap from going from working in all these top restaurants, all these three Michelin star restaurants, and then all of a sudden I've just gone into a restaurant that I'm opening as a head chef, but there's no like accolade to it or nothing,
Right.
So I didn't take a step down, but for me, I've taken a step up because I've gone into my first head chef position.
Yeah.
Obviously, at the time, in comparing it to now and then, there was never anything in paper based on the fact that we'll have contracts written, which was fine. But invoices and stuff, they wouldn't really be logged anywhere. So I didn't obviously have any head chef experience. I had the sous chef experience that I did from Kaufman's based on like taking orders and stuff. So I knew that. But running a restaurant was fine. I know how to run a restaurant based on the service, the brigade, looking after them, the front of house. I knew exactly what I wanted. But then, yeah, when you're working with other investors who have many different opinions, it does get a bit difficult when all of a sudden you're a fine dining restaurant doing 80 covers. You're actually turning tables, so it becomes 120 covers. So we're making huge money. It's vibey, there's a good buzz. We're fully booked every day. We have a waiting list, and then all of a sudden, the people you're involved with want to start getting a bit more greedy based on the fact that let's do afternoon tea. So therefore, us doing afternoon tea means the chefs are not going to get a break, and it kind of went against everything that we were doing anyway. Because the food at the Woodford was the stuff that I'm doing now at Launceston Place. There isn't much different. But obviously, yeah, bigger brigade, bigger team, bigger covers, and there's only so much you can take where it's more based on the fact that how much longer can you go by making money that you're actually not seeing anything of it. It was a bit weird. Sometimes some weeks I'll be paying chefs in cash their wage. Sometimes it'll be logged. Sometimes it won't be. There'll be no P45. It was just a bit all over the place.
Wow.
I can honestly tell you I got involved with the wrong people. And again, it was I think I ended up leaving based on the fact that even though my chefs were happy, I had to be a bit selfish at the time based on the fact that I wasn't happy with what was going on. The food changed based on they wanted more covers. They wanted to do 160, 300 people, and it was impossible because we started noticing that via TripAdvisor, as much as chefs say that it's not something they look at, we all do look at it. We started getting more complaints than we were compliments at the time. And especially for that area, we were ranked like top 6. So all of a sudden we dropped now massively. And that was based on the fact that they wanted simpler food, but more brasserie kind of style, and that wasn't what I signed up to at the time. So yeah, I decided to leave after 10 months. I remember quite clearly. I left on the 3rd of November, which was a Thursday. All my chefs were getting paid weekly, so they all walked out on the Sunday. I managed to get most of them jobs in other restaurants anyway. Same with my front of house team. So I knew things were going wrong, and they were there for me and my staff that I was working there were there for me and my restaurant manager at the time. So yeah, we managed to get most people jobs. Some people wanted to take a break. Obviously, it was quite intense. It was full on. We were running I remember it quite like, man, it was mad because I was sleeping in the office at like 4 or 5 times a week because obviously, again, I set myself a standard that I wanted to maintain, and I knew like Michelin stars was about consistency. We only had one small pull-out freezer, and we had like a lollipop ice cream as a canapé on the menu. And at that time, funny enough, the amount of quantity of molds I had was only for 60. So when we're doing 80, 120 covers, I mean, it meant I had to freeze them before, obviously, throughout the day. But I'd have to actually wake up in the middle of the night at like 3 in the morning to demold them and then reset more, so we got enough for the next day. It was so weird,
Unbelievable.
and my chefs were doing it as well with me, and I guess that's the kind of support that I had at the time from my chefs, and to this day I can't fault that, you know. And they would sleep with me. We used to have like a sleeping bag in the office.
Oh my gosh.
It was like a sleepover. Yeah, it was honestly, it was crazy. But by the time I left the restaurant, it would be 1 o'clock, 1:30, and then we're back in at 7:30. Sometimes there's no point going home because it's an hour drive to get home. Because at that time I was at my mum's, so it was just pretty long. So yeah, it was continuous for quite a long time, and then that was more so like breaking point. Like, I can't do this. I want to stick to what I was believing in when I first started this career, the whole fine dining thing, you know.
Yeah.
So I left, all the chefs walked out, and I remember like 3 months later, it got announced that the restaurant went into administration. So yeah, it was seeing a restaurant go bankrupt from something you were involved in from
From the
building
beginning.
from the beginning. Yeah, like it was a building site when I walked in there.
Mm.
And as you walked in, for the people that were in that restaurant, they even admit as well that it was like being in Mayfair, you know. And then all of a sudden you walk back out and it's like Essex, like there's nothing here, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a learning curve for sure.
Wow. I mean, what I think is amazing about you is even though you were struggling with the covers, you were doing your best to make it work. You were sleeping there, you were freezing, you were freezing products so you could just produce so many more of them. Um, I think that's really amazing that you just tried, you gave it your best shot. And I
Mhm.
think when you realized you were probably compromising the quality for the quantity,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, it just wasn't your thing.
I
How,
think
go on, sorry.
any head chef's dream as well is to have a restaurant which is consistent based on the fact that like what the chefs are producing are what the customers are going to love.
Mm,
And I think that's what's important. And when it got to the fact that we were just like turning batch after batch after batch of everything,
mm,
that we end up losing the love for it. It was more so like we were chasing the service every day, and that's
yeah,
when it got a bit too much.
yeah,
So it was more so finding the balance of, okay, do I put a stop to this? And like it's been a solid 10 months and we've killed it and we know we've done well, and in the hope that I'll take a couple of months out and then come back stronger, and then review it and see what offers get offered to me, and hopefully then bring back that team that I had originally, and then open something new or step into something new, you know. So yeah.
so when you do find yourselves in those sort of frustrating, when you're frustrated and you're overwhelmed, what sort of techniques do you go through to help yourself, like to help calm your mind down?
At that time, back then, I probably didn't have any techniques, if I'm honest. I was just so overwhelmed in it and everything was going on. Right now, my actual techniques based on my own mental health would be like waking up in the morning, uh, having a shower. I think it's quite important. Obviously, feeling fresh and then walking into the day with a clear mind. Okay, my clear mind now is I don't know what's I don't know what's going on today or tomorrow, but then just try and having some sort of like routine, where that's going for a walk at a certain time. So that way, I like with myself, especially in the restaurant when we're working, I'll get into to work for 8:30, 9. I know that I've got a deadline and I need to be set for service by 11:45, 11:30, 11:45. And then I know by 3 o'clock service will be calming down, and then I know we're doing prep now for dinner, which starts at 6. So everything was very like timed, you know.
Mm,
Like I'm very active based on that. So to all of a sudden just slow down, I still need to maintain some sort of routine where I've got like today, I'm going to cook dinner for 6 o'clock, and then I know I'm going to be watching a program at 8:30. So and then same with tomorrow, I know I'm seeing a couple of people, so I'll see them and I need some sort of routine, and I think that's what's the most important, especially through this hard time.
yeah. So, I mean, given what you've been through over the few years. What kind of advice would you give to chefs who have been through similar experiences? Because I'm sure this happens often. People are overworked. They have to, sleep in a sleeping bag because they don't have time to get back home and back again, or even physical and emotional abuse. What kind of advice do you give to young people who have to go through that?
So more so for me, it's more based on treat others. I remember hearing that at school, funny enough. It was like treat others the way you want to be treated, and it does apply massively in our industry. Like, there's no way on this planet I want to be screaming at someone for making a mistake, because they're not going to get anything out of it. It's just going to break them even more. It's going to put them off what they love doing. So and prime example now, like, I treat my team how I'd want to be treated. I have so much respect for them. I treat them like my friends. I speak to them on a level that they respect what I'm saying to them, because we're there to do the job. Like, we do have that limit between friendship and management, I think, which is important. So yeah, obviously, and yeah, I guess more so like believing in your source. Like, I didn't believe in myself back then, but then I managed to believe it enough that I can get through these hard times, and obviously come out the end a lot stronger.
Yeah, and you've had really amazing support from your family and mentors along the way. You picked yourself up, you
Yeah,
saw everything as a lesson, you took the best out of it all, and you got a job at Launceston Place where you're in complete control now.
yeah,
Obviously not this moment in time, we're
yeah,
in
exactly.
the middle of a pandemic, but talk to me about Launceston Place. Let's hear about that. And we've heard about your working relationship with your amazing team. How did the opportunity come about? And, that must have been a real high for you to go to Launceston Place, because you were in control of your own menu and you're
Mm.
back in control of what you were doing and what you love.
Yeah, yeah. So Lawns Place for me, when I started, it was like the dream, like 50 cup of restaurant, like tasting menu, fine dining. Like, we're not turning tables, we're not rushing people out. And yeah, it worked out in my favor. Obviously, I know there was a big reputation based on the fact that, like, Tim Allen was working there before. Prior, he had a Michelin star. As soon as he left, the chef, I can't remember his name, but he took over. He couldn't maintain the star. So the fact that, like, Princess Diana's favorite restaurant, there was a lot of emphasis on the Michelin thing. Um, Obviously, with my experience at the time, it was more based on the fact of finding my thing. What people will like uh, from that neighborhood. Obviously, Tim Allen's food was very classic, big flavors, bold, whereas mine was a lot more simpler. I think a bit more refined, not complicating flavors, but using a couple of ingredients to the ultimate that they can get to. And yeah, first year was a bit shaky. Kind of annoyed a lot of the locals. They didn't really like what we were doing at the start. We put emojis on the menu to bring a bit of fun to it, but then at the same time, we over delivered with what we produced. You can't, like, a lot of people judge the menu based on words, but until they actually see that, it's a completely different story.
Mm.
There's a lot of dishes in the menu that come from my childhood, like the eggs and soldiers dish, for example. It's something that I was given to as a kid. Obviously, this is the posher version of it. And yeah, we've been grateful enough that we've earned 3 rosettes, which is a good achievement. Obviously, I believe I want 4. I know a lot of chefs are happy with 3, but then I'm always pushing for the best. I've never had a Michelin star in my name. I've only ever worked in Michelin star restaurants. So obviously, any chef's dream, for me, it's like the lottery ticket as well. To achieve a Michelin star would be amazing.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, ultimately, for another head chef's dream would be to have a fully booked restaurant, and that was something that did come true before COVID, before the first lockdown. We were fully booked. We had a 2-month waiting list. It was insane. So going in every day on a Tuesday, our Tuesdays will be exactly the same as our Saturdays, and our Friday nights. So it was a good feeling, and it was consistent. And I think that's the most important thing. And yeah, the team have been with me. My sous chef's been with me for 4 years. He was with me at the Woodford as well. So and yeah, there's a lot of trust between us, and it does really work.
Amazing. It's so important to have a strong team with you. But talking about the dishes, I mean, they do look amazing. You've got such cute, quirky things in there, like your supermarket trolley, and
Yeah.
you got the clothes horse with the Jaffa tarts and the strawberry laces. It's super cute. And, you know, I can't wait to come and experience it when we open up again. Rather frustratingly, I had 2 booked dinners, both of which got cancelled, which you know about.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Already. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
the
so
emojis and stuff
happy.
are fun.
Yeah, I'm so pleased for you that, you know, you've had such great success with this restaurant. It's fully booked every day when it's open. But, you know, you've got all of the experience from really, really tough kitchens, and you're passing on kind of really good ethos to your team and the people that you work with.
It is important, I think. Like going back to like the trolleys and stuff, like again, it's a smiling element at the table, you know, like it's a little nod to my mum who works in Waitrose. So everything is a bit personal. The Henry Hoover we have that vacuums up your breadcrumbs. Actually, you can get them online, you know, but then the fact that Henry Hoover wanted to sponsor 4 of them so that the vacuum actually sucks stronger than,
Oh,
you
wow.
know,
I didn't know that. That's quite
yeah,
sweet.
it was cool. Again, bringing something fun, but doesn't change the actual food element. You know, like you're coming to a restaurant to eat, you're going to leave fed, fill
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
More so comfortable for us. Like we don't really like make people bloated. You know, like I think the balance we have within the menu, like you do leave comfortable. You know, and we're quite generous in what we do with the whole bread course, the canapes, the price value as well. It's not too expensive. So yeah, it is very. I've been very lucky. You know, and I've had good support from everyone, from family, friends, especially, even work colleagues as well. So I
Yeah.
feel very truly grateful.
Ben, it's been amazing chatting with you today. I'm so pleased to be talking to you again. It's been like,
Yeah,
was it 10 months later, and we're chatting again.
yeah,
Super lovely. And you've been amazing today. Thank you so much for sharing, you know, your intimate stories,
amazing. Thanks a lot for having me.
passing
Also,
on inspiration. We have just a couple of more things.
yeah,
So tell me something about yourself I couldn't possibly know.
about myself. What can I say? You know, back in the day, actually, I've always been good at dancing.
Oh,
Completely random, yeah. Yeah. Like, I was actually having this conversation with my friends the other day, funny enough. Like the fact that we used to have like I used to do dance at school. And yeah, we used to be having a positive vibe every time we went out. We used to draw quite a lot of attention actually based
oh,
on it. But
lovely.
yeah, it's a bit different. But yeah, it's
So
obviously
when you say
now.
you used to be a good dancer, when's the last time you danced? Do you dance now?
I might have a little shimmy when I'm like cooking at home, obviously when I'm alone, so no one sees. But yeah, no, obviously from back then, obviously don't using my feet. Now it's more about my hands. So yeah,
Well, there's
always good.
no reason why you can't use both, right? We do it all the time at
Exactly.
home.
Yeah. In the shower, here cooking, is what it is.
And last time I asked you this question, you said you love going to the zoo with your nephews, and I know how much you love penguins.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're exposing me. Yeah, no, it's I've got a thing about animals to be fair, and I don't know what it is about penguins, but they just seem so like relaxed.
Yeah.
So like the last time I took my nephews to the zoo, like I don't know, they were kind of like ready to go on and see something, like see the next lions or the next part of the zoo. But I was just chilling, I was enjoying it, and yeah,
Oh,
there's something about them. Obviously, yeah, it's different, and I think it kind of it's a way that like relaxes me. So even now, sometimes I'll go to like Primrose Hill. I'll go for a walk. All of a sudden, I'm at the back of Regent's Park, and obviously because it's closed, I'm just standing there looking at the giraffes. So yeah, there's something about animals that make me relax. It's quite calming.
yeah, the
But yeah,
innocent.
everyone to their own, I guess.
Yeah, and I actually looked up fun facts about penguins. And did you know that that penguins don't have teeth?
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they don't have teeth. They got a fleshy spine inside their mouth, which helps them swallow fish, but they don't have teeth.
Oh wow, learn something new every day.
Yeah, there you go. So we've got a very quick fire round that we've got to get through. I've got some questions from our listeners.
Okay,
So
well,
I'm going to start with that now. Will you be taking on a stagiaire when when COVID is over and you're back to work?
yeah, I will be 100%.
Could you start your own YouTube channel and show us how you cook at the restaurant?
Yeah, it's obviously something worth looking into. I think my first priority would be getting the restaurant back to where it should be at the time. And then maybe I can do it on like a Sunday evening when we're a lot quieter, perhaps, or even a Monday when we're closed. Yeah, it's something. Many people actually asked me about that. To be fair,
I
because obviously I
reckon
was
you
doing
should, you know. I mean, why not start it now? I mean, we've got, you know, you've got the time.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
something I
your
might
own
look into.
YouTube channel. Yeah, definitely. Let us know and we'll share that news.
Definitely, as and when.
Best menu idea you've ever had?
Best menu idea.
I guess your favorite dish, I guess, if I could just.
Well, to be fair, menu-wise, the best menu I think we've launched in the restaurant would have been the collaboration with Sat Baines. We did it 2 years ago. He came with his team Tuesday night. It sold out in like 4 hours. It was crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, that was probably one of the best menus I've been involved with. Obviously, for who he is and what he brings to the table, it was an incredible day.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds amazing. Your favorite UK-based French chef?
French chef. UK. Oof. Trying to think. French based, is it? So they are French or no?
I don't know. That's just the question. So what's your favorite UK-based French chef? So I guess your favorite chef who is French or either cooks French food in the UK.
To be fair, I have so many, I can't answer it because otherwise it won't be the best.
Yeah, no, fair enough. That is your answer. You've answered
Yeah,
it.
it has to be because I have so many French chefs, obviously working in France as well, and some of them are over here. So yeah, I can't answer it.
Okay, I think these ones are going to be a little bit quicker. Do you have a girlfriend?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. So do you want to have a girlfriend?
Yeah, ideally, yeah, I do want to settle down eventually. Yeah, you know, worst of all, I've only realised that like turning 30 last year, like in December, like it's been a wake up call for like wanting to settle down, like having a good work environment, having an amazing place to live, and then having someone to share that with, for me, it'll be ideal. So yeah, as and when the time is right.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, the current pandemic has definitely highlighted, you know, the loneliness.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and having a partner is just so important for mental health as well.
Yeah, definitely right that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so these ones are quite quick. Favorite kitchen gadget?
My tweezers.
Ketchup or mayonnaise?
Ketchup.
Kitchen breast or thigh? Kitchen? No, chicken. Chicken breast or thigh?
Thighs.
Soup or salad?
Salad.
Last meal on
earth? Carbonara.
Ooh. Curse words that you use in the kitchen?
Curse words. Oh my god. You know what? There's not really a curse word. I say bro a lot. Like a lot of people like will say, like, I know Sat Baines, they say chief, like come on chief, or right chief. Like everything that we say is like bro, like everything's like brotherhood. Like kind of.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, like just go bro. Like, yeah, honestly, and all my team say bro as well, so it's quite funny.
Oh, that's super sweet. So even when you're like annoyed with them, you say bro.
Yeah. I'll scream it. I'll scream it, and they get it. Then it feels like more personal, you know, but it's not.
Yeah. No, that's actually really sweet. Okay, so just a couple more. Black truffles or white?
White truffles when we can afford them.
Edible gold or wearable gold?
Wearable gold.
Well, you're wearing a lot of artwork. I really do love your tattoos. I think they're absolutely brilliant.
Can't wait for lockdown to live so I can carry on.
Well, I thought you would have got more done actually during lockdown.
Yeah, well, technically we're not allowed. This is the thing. Like, obviously, I'm still getting my haircut done, but apart from that, I'm not really.
You're not getting any tattoos.
Yeah, I'm not getting any tattoos. So yeah, sooner the better.
Okay, last one. Cake or pie?
Yeah, I do like a cake, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, you said you were going to start cooking at 6 o'clock. What are you making?
Tonight, maybe maybe a chili con carne. Honestly, like this is the thing. A lot of people judge me by like like where I work, they think I cook all this like fancy food at home. I
Yeah.
honestly don't. For me, it's all about comfort food, like pasta bakes and like spaghetti bolognese, and carbonara is obviously my favorite thing. So I have that at least twice a week. Caesar salads, like comfort
Yeah.
food for me is the ultimate. The cooking, the fine dining thing, it's what I love to do. It's more of a
Yeah.
passion. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, on that note, thank you so much, Ben. And we love seeing your Insta stories. They're so much fun. They keep me uplifted. Really enjoy them. And you're
Cool.
just sharing a little bit of your life every day. Guys, if you want to follow Ben, he's on Instagram at Ben Murphy Chef. And I'm at Posh Nosh Gal. And just a little reminder, if you enjoyed this interview, please subscribe, rate, and review. It helps other people find me.